All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to welcome you to the Healthy Living Podcast. My name is Joe Grumbine, and I'm your host. And, today we have a very special guest. And, I think every show we have a special guest, but this one is particularly special. And I'm just getting to know her, but her name is Cynthia, and she's a healer, and she's here to share some thoughts and ideas about healthy living. And so far, I don't know when this one gets aired, but so far we've had an osteopath, and we've had a chemist, and we've had a young woman who has endured Crohn's disease. We've had a 91-year-old woman. We've had a cancer survivor. We've had all these different guests. And that sort of exemplifies what this community is all about. It's about all of us. And we have experts in their field. We have practitioners. We have, licensed physicians, and we have experts as healers. And so, Cynthia, I'd like to give you a chance to introduce yourself and just say welcome to the show.
Hey, Joe, thanks for having me on. Thanks for your kind words, by the way, and I appreciate having me on. And yeah, I can't wait to chat about what I do and about Reiki and all that good stuff.
Well, I think that this whole podcast is about healthy living, mind, body, and spirit. And a lot of the conversation is about the body because we live inside of these bodies, but the truth is, we're a bunch of electricity wrapped up in some skin, and there's a lot more mind and spirit than there is body if you really were to look at it closely. Like if you look at the universe, like some huge percentage of the whole universe, we don't even know what it is. It's dark matter, right? And so you put that inside and expand your whole body out to the quantum level, and most of us is nothing or something we don't even know what it is. So what is spirit and the mind? It fits somewhere in that realm, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's interesting. At first, when I first started, I really didn't believe in any of this stuff. People would when I was little, my mom would ask me and things like that, because I would see things and I didn't really know what it was, and I thought everybody was the same thing. I thought everybody was the same. I thought everybody would see things, and growing up, obviously that was not the case.
What kind of things did you see?
Just shapes, and I guess I now knowing, I think it's just energy forms, like shapes and things would appear, colors, and for some reason, I guess you could say ghosts would follow me.
What's interesting about that you mentioned, I think really young children have the ability to see more things, because I can remember my biological daughter when she was about a year and a half old. She used to walk around my little garden, and she would tell me about the fairies and the angels that she would see. And she didn't know what the heck a fairy or an angel was, and I didn't ever tell her about these little creatures. She's just telling me about these things that she was seeing in the garden that were talking to her or showing. And I was like, I'm sure you're seeing something, and I think when we get older, somehow we stop believing, we stop, close it off.
I that's so awesome. I feel that we all have that within us. Like we all have that. I guess some people call it like psychic. Some people call it like a what is it, like an extra sense?
Sure.
I think we all have it, and I feel that, like, growing up, stress and just life happens, and we just, like you said, we stop believing, we stop connecting to that part of ourselves, and and we kind of lose it. We kind of lose that sense. But for me,
not everybody, yeah.
oh yeah. So yeah, some people, like your wife, she's very special,
right?
And being around her, I felt it. Like I was like, oh wow, you can just feel it. And yeah, it's something very special when you have that connection and when you just have that awareness of knowing just that you have that gift. Everybody has that gift. It's
Yeah,
just,
they are able to measure electricity, and they're able to measure, brain waves, and they even have, cameras that somehow measure your aura, and I don't know. I mean, I just, I've seen it. I don't know what it means or anything like that, but I know that when I've been in a particular state of mind, I've seen things like that, and I think to myself, is that me opening it up, or am I just imagining that you don't really know, but
yeah.
I tend to think I'm seeing what I'm really seeing rather than imagining it, because it's not something I would particularly imagine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's funny too because it's not something that you're thinking about at the moment. It's just happening.
Right.
And then it's yeah, once well, I guess I'll go into talking about a little bit more about Reiki and how I started. Um, so I was
Reiki? What
I'm
is
sorry.
Reiki? What
So
is Reiki?
oh, okay, let's get into what is Reiki. So Reiki is a form a healing modality, energetic healing modality. It's very ancient. Uh, from what we know, it comes from the Japanese. Some people say it comes from the Buddhists. Some people say it comes from India. I've read a lot about it, and different practitioners. They just wanted to get to that history part about it, and they just kind of went in deep and found a lot of old symbols and old information that Reiki pertains to. But yeah, it comes from the East. It's very ancient. In the I want to say in the late 1800s, there was a Buddhist monk. His name was Usui, where that's like the name that it comes from, that it's kind of stuck to now. So a lot of people know it as Usui Reiki. That's most of the modality that most Reiki practitioners practice is Usui, the Usui method. So yeah, so this man, he was a Buddhist monk. He went into a retreat by himself into a certain mountain, and in meditation he channeled the Reiki practice. He
Wow.
channeled symbols. He channeled that's part of the history. Some people believe it, some people don't believe it.
Yeah,
But that's what some of the books say.
sure.
And that's like the most famous story that there is that he
Okay.
found it in this by meditating in a mountain, and he came down from the mountain with all this knowledge, all this wisdom, and he started healing people.
Wow.
But some people say that it goes back to Jesus, that it goes back to all the way to back then when in those times, and Jesus was a healer.
Right.
People kind of connect that, so there's many different stories. But anyway, going back to I guess maybe the early 1900s, a woman brought Reiki from Japan to Hawaii.
Okay.
And from Hawaii, she made it very accessible and easy to understand. And she kind of even changed the history, making Usui Christian, so
Okay.
that people would accept him more. It
All
was
right.
acceptable in those times, like in the early, I think it was in 20s or 30s. I'd have to double check, but it was very early on, and some of the things were changed. But I feel that the history is just kind of up to what you feel. I
Right.
I don't know. That's how I feel it. And then
Well, there's more than one side to a story anyways.
yeah,
So, it depends on who's telling the story. If you were to get, any major event that ever happened in the world, and you bring a person that was standing here, 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 and here, and say, okay, tell me what happened. And you would
yeah,
think that four different things happen sometimes. So it's
yeah.
what's important, I think, more than anything, is that the practice and the modality has come, and it's something that can be passed along now.
Yeah, and the teachings, that's the most important part, because it does come with like a lifestyle also. Like it comes with the principles of different things that you do daily, like a daily practice. And
Hmm.
it also helped me a lot with not only healthy living, it did help me become become healthier and more focused on myself in many ways rather than focusing on other people. I was just more of like an internal thing where it brought me back to myself. So that was very, very good for me and very healing, and it helped me help others.
Well, they
So
say you can't pour out of an empty glass, so you have
yeah.
to it's funny because I know a lot of healers over the years, and all different types of healers, that's a big word. But if a healer does too much and doesn't take care of themselves, all of a sudden they lose effectiveness. And in fact, they can get really sick sometimes because they give it all away. They don't, you can't.
Burn out.
Yeah. So it's important. I think, part of this whole healthy living idea and concept that I like to try to tie in are things that apply to everybody. And I think that in what you just said is you use your own modality to help yourself. That's a tell in its own self. If you're not practicing what you are doing for yourself, then why would anybody else want it, right?
Yeah, it didn't work.
Exactly. So that's good. That's a good tell.
Yeah, so yeah, that's kind of the background on Reiki. It was brought to Hawaii, and then it was brought to the States, and it was at first a lot of the symbols and a lot of the teachings were very secretive, and some people still don't like to show the symbols to their clients or to anybody, or just I love to share information. I'm a true Gemini. I love information and I love to share. So that's with me. Like if I know something, I'm just gonna share it with anybody. Even I love to share information and what I learned and things like that. But yeah, so it's a hands-on healing method. Usually the energy is not mine. It's a universal energy that comes from everywhere. It's all around us. But what it is very special about it is that you do have to get attuned to the Reiki, to the lineage, by another Reiki master, or I don't like to say Reiki master. I just like to say Reiki teacher.
It's funny because that's
teacher.
One of the few modalities that they use that term master. In the martial arts, I think they have masters too, but most of the you don't have an acupressure master, master, or a
chiropractic master or chiropractor master.
Yeah. I always thought that was interesting with the Reiki thing, but you know what? I think that the fact that you have a humble approach to it is important. The fact that makes you uncomfortable is just lays out that you're the kind of person that should be doing this.
Yeah, I feel like I'm still learning. Like every time I do a session, I'm always amazed still by it, and I'm always learning. And I'm always like taking notes on my journal and like jotting things down. And because that's so yeah, I hate laying of hands. The energy comes through the chakras, through the crown, and we can get more into chakras a little later. And so it goes in through the crown, and for me it comes out through my heart and out through my arms and through my hands. So, and I tell some of my clients like how it works and all that, and it's funny because like it just comes out of my heart. I don't really necessarily have to put my hands near you. I can just really like literally just stand there doing something so my clients know that I'm working.
Right. Yeah, what's going on?
What is she doing there? So yeah, I have to do my movements and all like the positions and things like that. But yeah, I mostly work with the chakras. I can read the chakras. I can like cleanse the energy and things like that. And I don't like to say me because it's really the person that it's receiving. They're the ones I'm just picking up on what they need and what they want, or what their body is needing, or their spirit, whatever it is. And I'm just like facilitating whatever it is that they need. That's how I always tell my clients or anyone that's receiving, like, you're the one in charge, you're the one healing and doing everything. I'm just the assistant helping you.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. I believe that, the one thing I know is that I don't know anything. So all the things that we're talking about are just our experiences. And and how we observe and notice and all of that. But I believe that our bodies have the ability to heal anything. Like I believe that we can manifest anything inside or outside of our bodies if we just let ourselves do it. And that there's this infinite energy that's all around us. I mean, just look up in the sky and see these, nuclear friggin' explosions happening all over the place, and gravity and magnetic fields and all this stuff. It's all energy, all of it.
Yeah, like
And
the Bluetooth, that's energy.
right, even just
Actually,
breath,
Wi-Fi, that's another.
all of it.
You
Yeah,
can
yeah,
consider that. You can kind of think of Reiki in that way, like a Wi-Fi or like a signal. Like it's electric, it's electromagnetic. So
for
it's
sure.
yeah, it's and like as of lately, a lot of it's been used a lot in like medical I guess facilities like hospitals.
Really?
Yeah, I'll share a link with you. There's a whole organization that just uses it just for medical. They use
Wow.
yeah, it's there's studies that started I'll share a bunch of the info
Yeah,
with
yeah, that's exciting. I think we're going to get some more blog posts out of you.
yeah. Yeah, I should get some more info on that. But yeah, it's so then with the Reiki, it's very good for to de-stress. So it's really great for stress, for anxiety, depression. It's really great for pain management. Um, so when and then it's that's how they train us. So when when someone's body is like very relaxed at a super relaxed state, it goes into like a self-healing mode. Like it goes
Okay.
back into like an equilibrium, I should say. And yeah, your body just starts healing itself. That's what's really another special thing about Reiki, that it's
What if I had I don't know, a broken arm, and it was really bothering me? I needed to heal fast, and I'm frustrated because it's not healing, and these things just take time, and I don't have that time, and so I'm like, okay, I got to try everything. Would going to get Reiki treatments be helpful for something like that?
oh yeah, definitely. After you went to the doctor and set your bone back, or once they
Right,
set your
right, yeah, yeah. I'm not saying, yeah, I just got done with an accident and go to the Reiki first. Yeah, I'm in a cast. I'm healing. Yeah.
yeah, once they fall it back into place, what Reiki does, it helps you heal faster. It speeds up the healing. Uh I'm not sure how many times. I think it just depends on the person. But yeah, it does accelerate the healing. Um and I want to say there's another thing that I started incorporating the Reiki with was the CBD.
Oh, nice.
And now that you're saying that it accelerated the healing, like
Yeah.
that, just with adding CBD into the practice, that
Uh-huh.
even accelerated even more of the healing for people, as far as like, I think most of everything that I've seen when offer CBD to clients before or after, they see even more of a difference than for someone that I hadn't offered that CBD.
So it's interesting because, just jumping over to the CBD, or, any herbal remedy or holistic treatment that you would add, it seems that there's this combination of things that are always happening, right? And so there's the physical things that are happening. I'm eating certain foods, I'm drinking certain amount of water, I'm sleeping, I'm putting things on me or not putting things on me, whatever it is. And so there's an effect that comes from that, even if you didn't do anything else. Like I just said, I'm not going to think about anything, I'm just going to put this stuff on, something would be happening. And then what you're doing by yourself, with if nothing else happened, even if like maybe they were resisting, you would have some effect. But then when you can combine one thing that helps with another thing that helps, I think what happens, like my experience with formulating and working with plant medicine, is you can pick certain ingredients that work one on its own and one works on its own, but some ingredients you put together and they don't work so good. And so you don't do that. You put these two things, they like cancel each other out. but other ingredients you put together and they work twice as good.
Yeah, it's like magic.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if this, putting the CBD and as a topical or even internally or however you do it, that's already working with your body's homeostasis and your regulatory system already. So it's already getting your body sort of tuned up, if you will, to where it's working a little better. And then you go and inject all this energy to do even more of that. It makes sense.
Yeah, it's pretty magical. So yeah, that's been really great to like great care. I feel like it's like I feel like Reiki is like a natural adaptogen, just like CBD and like other herbs and plants. That's how I've seen it. Like it just does whatever your body needs it to do when you're I see a lot of people that have high stress and high anxiety. And those certain things can lead to depression. From my experience, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not trained in any type of medical field.
Me either. Yeah.
I'm not a nurse. I always tell that to my clients too. Like, I'm not a nurse. I'm not a no. I don't have any medical experience. Just from my experience that I've seen with myself and my family.
Absolutely.
People that come to me for Reiki. So yeah, it goes with high stress. I see, like I said, I see people that have a lot of high stress, depression, anxiety. So yeah, it's like an adaptogen. It works to whatever it is you're going through. For every person, it's very different. Some people might cry during a session. Some people might laugh. Some people might just be like very in their thoughts, or some people might just be chatty. And I just let it flow. I just let them be, let them happen. Just let them release whatever they need to release as I'm working on them. And what I do is, I didn't mention it, but I lay you down on a massage table fully.
I was going to ask, yeah, how do you actually do it? Yeah.
So laying down on a massage table, fully clothed, facing up most of the time. And then I start at the head, and it's a light touch. And then the third eye.
You actually physically touch their skin.
Yeah, it just
depends.
I ask for permission. Before the pandemic, I would do the light touch, without permission, but now, times have changed.
Yeah, everything's different now.
Yeah, I ask beforehand. So it's just a light touch. So nothing too, and then it's like maybe about 2 to 3 minutes on each position, which is just laying of hands. And I mostly work with the chakras. So I start at the crown, the third eye, then I'll go down each one. And I pick up a lot of information from people. I don't like to say this, but it's like part of my gift. I guess I'm psychic, I should say.
Describing what's happening, it's funny because you're so humble. And I think that's very, it's very attractive, in the sense of that so many people are so full of themselves and you just don't even want to hear what they have to say because, and you're almost shy about speaking of this thing that you have. But, to me, I think it's noble how you are treating it. But at the same time, I would say, if I could sing, I would sing all the time, and I wouldn't be shy about singing. I can't sing, so I don't, but if I could, I would, and so I think that probably just you doing it and the people that you touch would testify to your ability. But, there's also something about being confident in yourself. And I know that you are, because your energy says that. And yet you just have this humility about yourself. So
thank you.
That's good. I think it keeps, like, with energy, I think, like you're saying, you're tapping into source, the source of the universe, however you see it, and we like to put names on it and put, it's this or it's that or it's the other thing, but I'm not that good. I don't know anything. So I just say,
I'm the same way. I don't know anything. I'm just going with the flow.
I'm going with it. I know that there's energy. I've felt it and I experience it. And so, but you're tapping into it. So like you said, you're not you're not shooting lasers out of your eyes, you're bringing energy through you. And like there's a technique of energy raising that I've been exposed to, and it has to do with tapping into the earth's energy through visualizing a grounding and pulling it up into you, and bringing it up and raising it up and all of that. And I felt that tremendously. Like, I mean, you get warm and it's just crazy. And
Yeah, like you get like a tingly sensation, like
yeah,
rising your toe, like your feet, and yeah,
like it's real, like it's like you're literally like you can see it. And so knowing that, just the experience that I've had, I say to myself, well, there's plenty of energy out there, so more than we need. And so to be able to, I wouldn't even say harness it, I'd say work with it. If anything, it seems to me that's what you're describing. Now, you brought up chakras. I know, again, I try to treat this show like everybody is brand new and nobody knows anything. So if a word comes up that isn't necessarily on everybody's tip, I see chakras like you see these little a shirt or a piece of artwork, and it has all these different colors all in a line. And if you don't know anything about it, you know that there's different colors maybe. But what are chakras all about?
So chakras are, so we all have them. We all have the chakras. And we have thousands all over our body, but we have 7 main chakras. And they start, some people start them up here, some people start at the bottom. So we have our root chakra, which a lot of people see it as red, black, brown. It's called the root chakra, connected to the earth. There's properties of each chakra, and you can get stuck in chakras. And there's a famous one that a lot of people always like to use, is the Donald Trump chakras. He's stuck in the first 3, which is the first chakra is the root base. So it's security, money, financial, whether you have a career, how well your abundance and things like that, security, safety. And then the second one is the sacral. It's a few inches above the root. That deals with sexuality. It deals with creativity. Deals with where babies come from and that energy. And then we have the solar, which is yellow. Solar plexus is our willpower. So when we say something, are we gonna do it? That's like our power. That's some people call it, or some call it the Hara center. It's just like your power center. Mm-hmm. That's your sun center. It's a very important chakra. They all have. I'm sorry.
It's your integrity.
Yeah, your sun. And I see the sun right there. That's that chakra, the sun. that fire, where that fire comes from.
right, absolutely.
Yeah, so, and each chakra has a different property, different.
So these chakras are they like a gland? Are they like a portal? Are they like, how would you describe what they are?
So it's an energy center. Okay. Some people might not even realize that they have them, and some people might not even believe that we have them, because we're not taught in school that we have chakras. We're just taught that we have a body and that's it. But yes, and it's believed that the chakras are linked to our glands. Okay. And they run all along our spine, and they're connected to each gland, and that is why each gland has a certain property and it does something different. And
there's probably a lot more going on with all of that,
Oh yeah.
Like sacred geometry when you're talking about these things where, there's these shapes that occur in the universe, right? And they occur from galaxies to flowers.
Yeah.
And with even in our double helix of our genetic code. And you got to think to yourself, maybe there's more to it than we're seeing, right?
Yes. And our energy runs in a certain way. So when I practice, I only move in a certain direction around the table, because I don't want to disrupt that flow. Mm-hmm. It could possibly hurt the person, or just disorient them. And I don't, that's the opposite of what I want to do. So I'm very careful of how I work with the energy and how it's flowing. And
So it's
sometimes,
like the force. You could have the dark side if you wanted to, right?
yeah, yeah, I guess so. Yeah. But yeah, it's been pretty interesting how Reiki works. And like I said, every session is different. I'm always like so amazed with what I pick up on, because I can also pick up on certain things.
So part of this would be almost like a diagnosis where you're spending time learning from the person that you're treating or doing a session for.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the person's intention. Some people want to work on maybe something that's physical.
Okay.
And some people want to work on something that's not physical. It could be emotional, mental, but other things happen. Other things always happen. Like we come in
Right.
with, it's like when you go to Target, you go in for one thing and you come out with a bunch. That's usually what happens.
I understand. I go to Costco and the same thing happens.
Yeah. Yeah, you go in for one
Just
thing.
gonna get one thing, you come back with a cart full, and it's like, crap,
Yeah.
I didn't-
Yeah, and I pick up on like what this person did last week. All these like different things, and it's funny that you mentioned about sacred geometry, because our chakras do run as a spiral. They
Mhm.
move in a spiral motion.
Imagine
Yeah.
that.
So they do run in a spiral motion, and like how you were saying about the sacred geometry, that's why I move in a certain direction to
Mhm.
not disrupt that flow and that keep that integrity. And yeah, I try to be careful. I try to be careful. Like when it's a first time person, I don't go all out and do what I usually do with, like, if it was me, or just, I try to be careful. I try to gauge it. So I have like when I first started, I do a scan, and most Reiki practitioners do a scan. And usually, like I said, when it's a first timer, I just try to take it easy and be gentle and not be, because it could disrupt the flow. And some people do get sick. They get like a 2-day cold kind of thing, flu going
Good.
on. Yeah, but it's nothing that's contagious. It goes away within like a couple days.
People get that from massage sometimes too.
Yeah. Yeah,
If
yeah, yeah.
you haven't had a massage and you get a really good one, it might really just make you feel lousy for a day or two.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
the
you feel
good one.
better, yeah.
Those
Yeah,
are the good ones. Because then after that, like, you feel great.
right.
Yeah. And it's just your body like detoxing, releasing, letting go.
I love some things, yeah.
Yeah. And that's your body just, that's what a lot of people think, that when we get sick, we have to stop it, right?
Right.
So no, we don't stop it. You just take things to support your immune systems, to support
Right.
you want to get all the mucus out. That's the same way as Reiki. You want to release and let go of all the
Going, yeah.
all the toxic
You're
energy.
always building up negative things, so you think it would be a good practice to keep doing it once you get doing it. Now, can you do Reiki on yourself?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, I do it every day.
really?
Yeah.
Now you're getting me all interested. I'm like, I've never done a Reiki session, so now I want to try it.
Really?
I've never done it, yeah. And
Wow.
then next I want to learn it.
Yeah. I teach it also. So whenever you
There we
want to
go.
get tuned and start.
Well, you know, what's interesting is we were talking before we started recording the show that, I have a place that, my wife and I built for the last 25 years. It's a sacred garden is what it is. And it's a 2.5-acre site that has a stream that runs through it and even a little pond, and there's all kinds of trees and animals. And anyways, we're getting ready to, on a limited scale, open it up to healers. And I invited you and your family to come over. And I just think, I was wondering, does it affect, I can't imagine it wouldn't, but does it affect the outcome, like how effective you can be depending on where you are? Like if you're in the middle of the city and you've got cars whizzing by and you hear the sound of the freeway and sirens and horns honking, or if you're in a natural place where you hear, birds chirping and water splashing over rocks, and do those things affect the outcome or the effectiveness?
I think that for the person receiving, I think that does make a huge, huge play a huge part,
Mhm.
because in the sense you always want to just relax. Right, that's like the key, is to relax the person receiving.
Mhm.
Um, but for me as a practitioner, I can practice anywhere. I'm very good at just like tuning things out, tuning noises out, and I'm very good at just, I guess, focusing and concentrating.
Yeah, so
Um,
that sounds to me like that's where the mastery comes from, is being able to get in your place where you can do this well, regardless of what's going on around you. That's a meditative grounding
yeah. Yeah,
state.
a lot of meditation practice, a lot of like long, deep breathing practices, to get to that point, and to get to the point where you have like control over your mind and your thoughts. And it wasn't easy. I have to say, it's not easy. Um, but I feel
Most
with
things that are worth it are not easy.
yeah, it wasn't easy, but now it's now it has become easier for me to just kind of get to that level where I'm just okay. As soon as I turn on the Reiki, I don't know, it's just something that's automatic within my body, and like just kind of jump into that mode, and I'm just like, okay, Reiki is on. Yeah.
So how long have you been practicing?
I've been practicing since 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, 2017.
And
Yeah.
what drew you to this? I mean, where did you come from? I mean, you started your story telling us about your experiences as a young child and seeing energies, and then we fast forwarded to this, but there's a bunch of stuff in between. What took you from that child who could see energy and maybe spirits or whatever, and to now a person who tunes into this energy and uses it and directs it and helps other people with it?
Well, how should I? Let's see. My husband got into an accident a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago. And we were trying to find a way to, I guess, heal him and make him better without so much medication, because
Mhm.
it was too much. So we got into yoga. We got into doing yoga, specifically Kundalini yoga and
Okay.
meditation.
All right.
And yeah, we loved it. It was very easy after a few months of him practicing that. It was easy for him to move, and then I noticed within myself there was a lot of differences in my emotions, and I was happier.
Okay.
So so that was a huge, yeah, that was a huge one for me. Just like that feeling of, I don't know if you've ever had like a feeling of just like longing, like you're just looking for something, but you just don't know what it is.
Oh
It,
yeah, I have that all my life. And then I find one thing and then I go and long for something.
yeah.
I'm an overachiever when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah. So it was just like there was something, and just I've never done meditation. I've never dabbled in energy work. Just yeah, I never imagined any of that. Like I was a drinker. I was not eating healthy, not really watching what I would eat, not really consciously thinking about my space and the things that I do and things like that. But and then just doing those meditations and chanting and doing all that, like it brought me back to myself, I feel,
Okay.
and I was happier, and I felt like I was like I could see more. I don't know how to explain this, but it was just like a feeling of being whole, like being complete.
It was a feeling like you noticed something as you were practicing these healing arts, which you were doing with the yoga and the meditation
Yeah.
and the breathing and all that, those are healing practices.
Yeah.
So when we talk about healthy living, we'll do a whole episode on just breathing, because that's
Yeah. Oh yeah.
huge thing. And I can tell you a lot about breathing, because I come from the damaged lungs all my life, and I've struggled with breathing all my life. So I can tell you from that point of view all about breathing, but the value of breathing and doing it right, like most people breathe short, panting breaths, and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And when you learn how to just do a simple, I don't know what they call it, a box breath or something, where you breathe in and you hold it, and then you breathe out as a certain amount of time and hold it, and just doing that, you do it for even a minute, and you're like, whoa, I feel something,
I learned that as like a breath suspension.
Uh-huh.
So just holding in the breath, keeping it in, and then letting it out. And just doing different types of techniques, like doing 4 deep breaths in and then holding it and then releasing it. It does something to your body.
Yeah.
Energizing, one's calming, one's a certain thing. But we can get into that too later.
We could talk about a whole episode about that, but it's wild though how most people are and not getting anything out of it, when just these simple practices, and even just that alone is like a lifetime of work. Like you could master that, and that would be all you did was just breathe, right? I mean, you could put that much energy into it and still not tap your potential. But it's crazy though when you do the same thing with meditation. There are some people who become monks, and they'll sit for 3 days in a row, and they don't say a word to anybody, and they're just in a meditative state. And I've heard some of these people do interviews, and it's wild how you can go down these rabbit holes in any of these little places. But you also have to sacrifice when you do that, because there's only one of you, and there's only 24 hours, and you got 2 arms and 1 mouth and 2 eyes, and we live in a temporal world, whether we like it or not. So you having a family, and there's this whole element of the real world, if you will, that you have to take into consideration with all of these spiritual magical practices, if you will. And it's kind of wild though how the master, and I use that term maybe just accurately, somebody who's really good at something becomes a master. That's you're a master chef when you get really good at it, right?
There's master chefs, that's right.
or I mean, if it's just like a musician, you're a professional, a master musician. They say you put your 10,000 hours in. Well, that's a long time, but by the time you're done doing it, if you're serious about it, you'll be really good at it. And maybe that's what it is. Yeah, but just like anything, a doctor, a lawyer, anybody who is involved in a healing practice, I don't mean lawyers in that same category, but of an intense study, they practice. They don't perform, they practice. They're always practicing. Like you never get to the top, because there is no top. And so there isn't a place where you're like, okay, I did it,
no, like I'm done there.
There isn't that. Like you might be able to do certain thing, and maybe like in martial arts they have these different levels that you can accomplish, but there's no finish. Like you could always go another degree. And I think that this is definitely like that, and if you take it like that, maybe you get the most out of it. What about children? Is this something that you could perform or work with a child?
Oh yeah, definitely. I just had a session with a little girl last week. I think she was getting ready to go to surgery. So her mom, someone had mentioned to her mom that Reiki was a pretty good modality to try before surgery. And she's like, okay, I've never heard of it. I never tried. one of her friends had, well, I did a session on one of her friends, and her friend told her, and that's how it usually happens. It's just word of mouth and
Right. The best things are always that way.
yeah, so her friend told her, and she's like, hey, you gotta come check this out, and you gotta come talk to her. And yeah, I did and for children it's a lot, they receive faster. Like you were saying, children are they're easier to work with because they're so innocent, and they don't,
blocks.
life has not like happened to them yet.
Right. Yeah, they haven't put up all the walls yet.
Yeah, so that for children I would only do like 10 minutes.
Okay.
I think the little girl was about 5 or 6, and she did so well. And usually what I do with kids, it's like a playtime. What I do is like I ask them like, hey, like, just get to play with them, and then just start laying my hands on them as I'm playing with them or talking to them. So they don't even know what's going on. Some of the late, when we were done, the little girl
going, hey, we're gonna have a session here.
Yeah, like we're just playing, we're just having some playtime, and and I go and talk to her, and I hold her, and sometimes I'll sit them on my lap, or sometimes I'll just bring toys in and literally just play with them as I'm Reikiing them. And I don't really have to put my hands on, but if they're close enough, I'll just, because kids fidget, they move around, they're not going to lay down, they're gonna
I couldn't imagine a kid laying still for any length of time to go and get anything done. I don't know how pediatricians even deal with little kids.
Yeah, it's tough. But yeah, they receive very well. And yeah, she was really happy. She was really excited. And it really helped her mom, because she didn't know like some of the things that were going on with the little girl.
Wow.
Like we picked up on some pain that she was having, and the mom had no idea that she was in pain. So, and then she didn't know that the reason, like why she was getting so tired, it was because the issue that she had, or whatever, her issue or her challenge that was part of the symptom. It would get her really tired.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Now, in listening to you again, I've learned a lot. I read your article, and I did a little bit more reading, and it's funny, I've known a number of Reiki practitioners in my life. I've never had a treatment done. I've had massage done. I like massage. I've had, well, my wife is like really, really sensitive. So if we ever get a massage, she always gets hurt. Like it's too much for her, where I can get beat on and it's okay. And but even acupuncture I've done. I like that. I've done had acupressure done. I've had all kinds of different even cupping and all kinds of different things I've had done, but never Reiki. So I now, the fact that we've had a couple of conversations, I'm very intrigued about it. I definitely want to learn. But one thing that
sorry. Go ahead. We have a bunch of cats.
I can see that. That's cool. I was wondering, one of the things that brought me into this arena, two things brought me into this arena. One was my lung condition, and that's how I began studying plant medicine back almost 35 years ago, because I didn't like the Western medicine solutions for that. And so I began a journey that continues today. But the other thing is about a little over 4 years ago, I began a journey to lose weight, and I lost 50 pounds. My dad passed away 6 years ago at 70 years old. And, I turned 56 this last year, and I'm like, I'm no way, like I'm nowhere near, but I was starting to look like him, and I was going down the same road, and I made some dramatic changes in my life, and I've been able to manage that and live the life now. It's not just, it's not a diet, it's not exercise, it's a lifestyle. But one of the things that I realized in all that, and plus I've known lots of people in my life that have struggled with addiction. I've had addictions that I've had to deal with in my life. Even, addiction is even just bad habits. Like I have addiction to procrastinating. Yeah, the human beings are creatures of procrastination, and I struggle with that every day. And I work at getting over that, right? And all the other bad habits we have. Otherwise, we'd be perfect. And so I don't consider that any different. Like, whatever your bad habit is, that's your problem. That's your addiction. That's your whatever, call it vice or whatever. I would think that this Reiki could be very beneficial to things like that. Somebody was struggling with a weight problem, or struggling with a substance problem, or anything. I mean, it could even be a relationship. People are drawn to bad relationships, or they tolerate bad treatment, or they whatever. There's everything that goes wrong, right? The world's got no shortage of that. I would think that Reiki would be especially when you were talking about that solar plexus. Is that was the
chakra,
yeah, and you were talking about where your what I called integrity, but where your willpower, because willpower is a funny thing. We could talk we probably will talk about that in another day, but the point is that that's where a lot of people, you run out. Like, you only have a certain amount every day. You wake up and you have this much, and then you use it up and you don't have any more. And they say people make all the bad choices in the end of the day because you're tired. And so, and in the morning, you're not thinking about making choices. So we waste all our willpower, in the morning. So what do you think? Have you used Reiki with the intention of helping people make lifestyle changes?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, remember how I was saying earlier that they come in with one thing and they leave with a whole bunch of other things? Yeah, so a lot of usually people come in with or come to see me about physical issues or physical things. And I pick up on mostly emotional things that they have going on, and they're like, whoa, I didn't think that you were gonna pick up on this. And usually the things that I pick up on, it's because it needs to be brought up, it needs to be worked on by the person, or it needs to come to their awareness of what's going on with themselves. And it's interesting because when I was taught like the yogic philosophy and like Reiki and with energy, I was taught that usually emotions or mental things then later become physical.
Okay.
And that's what I see usually. And it's really interesting because with relationships, it's usually here in the heart chakra. The heart relates to relationships, love, all types of relationships, not only just, it could be with yourself. And then I find that the person has a hurt wrist, or like their hands ache, or they're hurt, or they had an accident, something that relates to this part of the body. And then I ask them like, hey, what's going on with this? They're like, oh yeah, I just had a breakup, or something happened with my relationship. Yeah, and it kind of correlates to whatever's going on. And I'm like, okay, so there's something here. So first it hits the body, and maybe energetically, it could be emotional, mental, stress, and then it becomes something manifested in the physical form that could be relating to the arms, and I've seen it in different places too. I've seen it in other parts of the body, which is really interesting.
So how do you practice, in the sense of, like, do you have a clinic that you work out of, or do you have do people make appointments, or how does it work? Like, I don't generally drive around. Like, you'll see a massage place, or you'll see even an acupuncture clinic, or you'll see, different, some modalities. You will see a shop where there's a place that you can go and call up and make an appointment. But I don't know that I've ever driven around and anywhere and seen a Reiki shop. So
yeah, same. To be more
time there was.
Yeah. So right now I work a lot from home. Believe it or not, Reiki can work at distance.
Oh.
I do a lot of distance work. So I work here from home. I live in Santa Ana in Orange County. But I have been doing in-persons lately in Long Beach.
Okay.
I'll probably just be there starting in January.
Okay.
We're gonna be doing wellness Thursdays.
All right.
So we're gonna be doing donation-based modalities. We have, like, I'm gonna be doing Reiki. We have a lady doing oil treatments. They're called Shirodara.
Mhm.
Um, it's like a dripping oil on the third eye. It's very relaxing.
Okay.
We have foot soaks. We have, or you can just come hang out and chat and have some tea. You don't have to do the modalities. And it's all donation based. It's called the House of Broadway in Long Beach.
Where is it?
It's on Temple and Broadway Avenue in Long Beach.
Okay.
Like right by PCH, right by the beach area.
Maybe Thursday, what time?
Every Thursday. So it starts at 5 p.m. and we'll do, I think, from like 5 to like 7 or 8 p.m. It's by appointment. I'll send you the link for the House of Broadway. So yeah, we're doing by appointment only, and it's all donation based.
Due to when we woo when we publish this episode, I'm creating a link to your profile as a guest, and we'll have whatever links you want to add to that. So that way, if somebody's listening to an episode, they're like, oh, wow, how do I get a hold of that person? They'll be able to do it. So that's kind of part of my goal with this, is to be able to for you to be able to reach people through this platform, and for people to be able to find you. If they listen to you, like, wow, I got to do that, try that out, because that's where I'm at. I want to try this and experience it. And so we'll learn where this place is and the time and all of that. You were saying that you do treatments from your home. Is it just been word of mouth? Like you did a treatment on one person and they told somebody? That's how you've done this?
Yeah, since I first started at my friend's dermatology office. She was really nice enough to rent me a small office there. Mm-hmm. And we would go back and forth. Like, she would send me her clients and I would send her clients, and she'd say, like, you got to try her out. And at this time I was just practicing. Like, okay. I was doing donation-based sessions just because I was practicing. I just wanted to learn. I literally was just practicing. I just wanted to hone my practice and just practice with as many people as I could. So I was just doing donation-based at that time. And then from there, the pandemic happened. She had to close down her space. So then that really led me to work more on my distance work. And I would just tell my friends, like, hey, you want to do a distance Reiki with me? And so let me practice on you and things like that. And then they would tell a friend, and then that would tell a friend, and then they would tell a friend.
So how do you direct, for me, obviously, like, everything's connected to everything. So if you plug yourself into that, I guess you don't even need to really know where they are. But is that how it works with you? You just kind of let yourself be connected, or do you have to know where they're at, or how do you?
No, I don't have to know where they're at. Honestly, some of my clients, I really don't even know where they are. I just need to know their birthday and their name.
Okay.
I have a picture of them.
All right.
Yeah, and then it'll be and sometimes I feel that the distance Reiki is more effective, I want to say. Wow. Yeah, I don't know if it's because I'm just sitting down in meditation and then just, I don't have to be moving around as if I'm in person. So maybe I'm just even more relaxed and just receiving more or seeing more.
All right.
But yeah, it's almost the same. I give a huge review to the person. I do the 30 minutes. I do a sacred geometry grid with crystals.
Okay.
I use my proxy, which is like a piece of paper where it looks like a person, and I just put like crystals on the person. There's a symbol that connects. There's a Reiki symbol that connects me to whoever's receiving. Okay. And there's a prayer and intention. And
can I sign up for tomorrow?
For tomorrow? Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, no, I want to do it in person, but if you can do it remotely, let's do that first.
Yeah, I can do both.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But my invitation to your whole family is 100%. I'd love to have you. I'd love to meet your family. Love to meet your husband, your
Oh, thank
kids, and just
you. Yes.
let's share a meal and walk the gardens and
Oh, that's
you
exciting.
know, I think there's something. I know Long Beach is the opposite direction, but it's not that much farther. It's a little bit farther, but not that much farther. And I think your kids I know are gonna love it because it's just a total playground for kids. They're gonna run
Oh,
around to their heart's content and look under things and climb up things, and it's just
okay.
it's
Well, our kid's 18, but she's still a kid.
okay. All right. Why did I think you had a little kid?
No, she's 18. Oh,
Oh,
maybe,
you told me you had a young child, I thought.
maybe, I don't know. No,
Oh, maybe I don't
she's
know where I had it in my mind that you had a young child. All right, well, your 18-year-old would enjoy it as well. It's a beautiful place. So nonetheless, um, I think that would be great. Now, um, kind of the final point here, because I know we're gonna have to wrap it up. We're running out of time. I mean, we could go on, but I think just having this segment is good. We have lots we can talk about. I hopefully you felt real comfortable and we're
yes, thank you. Yeah, that's
I think
great.
it's been a great session so far. Um, you teach this, so that really intrigues me as well. So how does that work? Like, what do you like if somebody comes to you, like somebody, and says, "I'd sure like to learn how to do Reiki." What's the process?
So it usually happens when a few people start to ask me. That's all I usually
Okay,
do.
all right, nudge, nudge, nudge. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a few people. Like, in that was like the first time it happened. I got like 3 or 4 messages. A few of my friends, some people that I didn't know. They're
mhm,
like, "Hey, when are you gonna teach? Do you teach this?"
yeah.
Okay, I guess I'm gonna teach. It's like, I guess I'm gonna teach. So then I made my own handbook. I have it right here. I made
Nice,
my own
nice.
handbook.
Love
So
it.
I give that with the course. I do like a 1, 2, and a 3, three
Okay.
different levels. So the first level is just to allows you to practice on yourself, your friends, your family, plants, animals. You can practice on. You can infuse Reiki with anything. Pretty much, you can put it in your water, your food, which I love to do. Medicine, pretty much anything. Your car. If you have like an important date, like court date, I usually send Reiki like whenever I have important meetings, important dates, and things like that, just to make sure, like court dates or people are going. Yeah, like one time I sent Reiki to the whole building of the court so that whoever my friend, whatever is doing the going on trial or whatever it is that they're doing, everybody could have a good day and be on, you
Oh,
know,
man, I wish I would have known you about 10 years ago.
so everybody be in a good mood.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I sometimes I send in colors and in energy and colors. Like I'll send pink to my friend. She loves me to send pink.
Nice.
So I'll send like pink to her home, and it just she says kind of sees it like rain, kind of almost,
Nice.
because she's also very perceptive, so she can also see and feel energy.
Mhm.
Um, so she sees it in pink, and then I have a quick story to share.
Sure.
I'm not gonna say where I was working, but I was working at a place, and every time that I was driving to my work, I would have the intention of creating like a big, beautiful pink sphere around
Okay.
it. Okay. So pink usually is a color of love in Reiki, and in energies is love, compassion, healing, relationships of higher frequencies. It's the thymus. It's another chakra that we are started to, well, evolution, we're starting to create more chakras. Also, another one has opened here in our
Okay.
thymus, and that's the pink, and it's also relating to the heart, but in a higher frequency of love. So I started doing that, bringing that, just to have a calm space, a peaceful space to work. And I noticed a few months in, everybody started getting into relationships.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah.
Cynthia, the matchmaker.
Yeah. I was like, what am I doing? I was like, oops, should I?
Oops.
I'm like, oops.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yes,
Wow.
things like that, will happen. And I'm just like, oh, what did I do?
Well, we'll be talking on this podcast about relationships and the importance of them, because I think that's a big part of the human condition and healthy living. There's very few people that can be healthy and solitary. I think we all have in our genetic code, in our spark of divinity that we have inside of us. There's a need and a part of us that is part of a group.
Mhm.
Relationships are just, in my opinion, when I see somebody who's had a marriage for a while and is happy in their marriage, that's powerful to me, because I have that too. I've got 26 years, and there's a thing of a good relationship that it's indescribable, and it's not good in the sense of, oh my God, it's so amazing all the time. It's good in that it's so solid that it can go through ups and downs and be good. And so there's something about that, like the world is so full of chaos and uncertainty, and to have even one thing that you could be sure of is so huge in life. And so, I've always thought that there's magic there. I'm always looking for the magical parts of life, and because that's what all of this is. And so I think there's just something about that element of it, the relationships being so healing. As we get older, we lose people. We lose a lot of people. And as I'm getting older, I'm like, crap, everybody I know is dying, and not everybody, I just know a lot of people, and I've lost a lot of people. And every time somebody gets close to passing, you realize how important that relationship is. Like nothing else really matters. Like that's really all there is in life, is these relationships. And so, for you to be able to be a part of even, encouraging that to happen in any way, shape, or form, to me, I think is a true healing. So
Yeah, it's important. Like having is it conscious relationships?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we're getting kind of to the end of the time that we have, but I definitely want to give you a chance to tell us all about how somebody could connect with you. I'm hoping that, like I said, I'm serious. I want to set up a remote session for tomorrow, and then let's figure out when we can get you guys to come on over and
Yeah.
place. Like I said, we'll make dinner and enjoy it. But how does somebody get a hold of you if they wanted to learn more, learn how to practice this, or schedule a session or anything else? How do they get a hold of you?
They can email me. My email is Reiki by Cynthia at yahoo.com. I'm working on my website. I'm gonna get a website since I haven't really had the need because everybody's just referral.
Right.
So, but no, I think for my first time people, and just people that I'm starting to really kind of put myself out there more, as far, because before I didn't really market and things like that. So now I'm really kind of putting myself out there.
Good.
So yeah, I'm that's in the works. I was actually working on it before we started this chat.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do that, and then hopefully in January I'm gonna also start a training. Hopefully at the end of January.
All right.
I'll do a level 1 probably in Long Beach.
Okay.
And then if you ever want to do one at your home and just like for you and your family, we
Yeah.
can set something up and just have a training just for you and your family at your home.
All right.
Because kids can be attuned also to
Okay.
Reiki. I actually when I was doing my training, there was a 10-year-old in our training with her
Really?
mom. Yeah, her mom and they were both doing the training.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, kids can do it. Anyone can pretty much do it. And not everybody gets trained to do it professionally, like to see clients. They just do it for their self-growth or
Yeah, that's what would be my interest. I mean, actually, in talking to you now, I'm more than ever convinced that I need to do it because the medicines and the products that I make with a lot of intention. But I think that this could add another level to it. And you know, I put intention into things, which in some level is the same thing, but I don't do it with any particular training. I just do it. And
yeah.
so I can't help but think that I could learn some things that would help make that even better.
Yeah, it would. Oh yeah, I always Reiki all everything.
Yeah,
My water, my medicine. I just like
love
hold it in
it.
my hands, and then yeah, and just a little bit goes a long way. And yeah, of course, I'm always available, and I'd love to teach and help.
Fantastic. Well, I don't think I have your phone number, so if you could email that to me,
Yeah.
then that way we can coordinate all this.
Yes.
Cynthia, it's been an absolute treat. As always, the time goes by so quick. But I am looking forward to getting these episodes up there and released. And it's actually perfect time now. All my animals are going up. But as we take this podcast farther down the road, and we're going to be talking about all sorts of elements that we've touched on here today. I'd love to have you back to get your thoughts and ideas about that, and certainly would welcome anybody else that you thought would be a good guest to point them on over this way.
Awesome. Yeah, I will for sure let some of my friends know that I have another friend, but she's in Mexico that I really want her to come on and share some. She knows, she's very knowledgeable, and she knows a lot too of information about like plant medicines and
Wonderful.
that. She's great. But yeah, I'll share. And thanks for
Excellent.
having me. Thank you for having me. It was such a pleasure, and can't wait to connect and to write more.
All right, Cynthia, thank you so much again. We'll talk soon. We'll talk tomorrow. So get me that information and I'll call you tomorrow and we can set it up.
Okay, sounds good.
All
All
right,
right.
take care. Thank you again.
Bye. Take care.